several questions being raised now beyond this horrific case. The questions now being asked on the safety of a woman in a city like Hyderabad. What are you picking up from school parents, from teachers, from youngsters in the city? What more can you tell us?
Sonakshi, 8 days since this horrific incident took place in Hyderabad, and that's something that has shaken, in fact, not just the city, but the country itself. Hyderabad, very often considered as a very safe zone for women, and many young women very often tell us that they don't feel afraid, in fact, to go out alone in this city. But this happened during the evening hours, not even before nightfall happened, and it happened in quite an upmarket area where women are going around freely. And that's one reason why parents, the citizens in the city, the police even, and I would say school principals are also worried about this, because many of these people involved in this particular crime were in fact minors. I am joined by Dr. Narsimha Reddy, chairman of the Hyderabad Sahodaya Schools Complex. I am also joined by Dr. Purnima Nagaraja, who is a mental health professional and also a child psychotherapist. I have two parents, Seema Agarwal and Kulwant Kaur with us, and also a young professional, Mansi Kumar, who will tell us about the younger people's outlook on what's happening in the city. So the first, I'm going to go across to the parents. Seema, to you first. After this incident, there is this scare that's happened about, about allowing your daughter to go out alone. And we thought the city was safe for youngsters, not just your daughter, perhaps even for any young woman to go out alone and not feel safe in this place. And this is in the heart of the city.
Hello, yeah.
Seema, were you able to hear me?
Am I audible? Yeah, I'm able to. Tell me.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. This is a very, very horrific incident that has happened, as it was usually told in Hyderabad that women are safe and there is no fear, and they were going out freely, frequently. That was there, but recent incident has really sent shudders on the spine. It's like it should not be only the education of the girls and body shaming or telling them to not go, restrict the girls only. There should be education of the boys. That is very much needed. That's why, the punishment also should happen. It should not be on the pretext of juvenile crime. They should not get away with that. And that's what my side I can say, that the girls have to be educated, and parents have to be more vigilant, and they should supervise. They should know where their children are going, and they should educate their children about what can happen. And the students also, the teenagers and the adolescents should not enter into unknown space just like that. That is really can put them into dangers like this. Yeah.
Kulwant, would you now say that, when you're sending out your son or daughter outside, you think twice? I mean, are parents asking enough questions of their children, talking to them? Do youngsters, in this case, the girl said that she had in fact taken the consent of her parents to go to that particular pub. How a pub allowed minors, that's of course another question.
See, it's a great, definitely, all parents are shaken after this incident in Hyderabad, because it's been like more than 12 years since we are in Hyderabad. My children have literally grew in this city, and I always found this city to be very safe. Even I used to drive around 10 or 11 in the night and would come from one place to the other, and will come home by 10 or 11 all by myself, and never felt scared. But this incident definitely has not only for kids. I think women equally are a little scared about it. Yes, coming to the point about sending our kids outside, obviously we are not going to restrict them, and it is practically not even possible that we cannot even, we don't allow them to go out. Going to the pub is certainly a thing which for minors I think confused here how minors are allowed in pubs, because my son is a 16-year-old boy. If he wants to go out with his friends to their place, or maybe a restaurant just to have a birthday treat or something, I'm definitely going to allow him. The only thing that I can do is obviously talk to him openly about these kind of aspects and the incidents that may happen, and how he has to be very respectful about the girls around him. And this open discussion I do very often with my son, to be very honest. And I think all the parents should be doing that same. My daughter is very young. She's
Dr.
just
Purnima
11,
Nagaraj,
so
parent, of course. Dr. Purnima Nagaraj, very often we as parents tend to think that we do talk to our children, but do children tell us enough? I know that you deal with many of these youngsters who are facing many growing up challenges, which includes in this digitized world. They are into a world that we are quite oblivious to. In this particular case, the children being out there, minors actually inside a pub. What the police in fact told me was that they pay a ticket price, 1200 or 1300 rupees. Somebody hires it for 800, 900, lets it out for 1200, 1300 rupees. So all youngsters go, and this was supposed to be a preschool kind of a get together before schools reopen.
So I have apparently it was a non-alcoholic preschool party, and but what happened there is obviously something different. I've been talking ever since this incident happened. I've been talking to a few people, youngsters who come to me for other reasons and counseling. And what is horrifying is that most people here are victimizing the girl, even the, young girls, saying that she gave consent, and they don't understand that a 17-year-old cannot give consent in this country, or any country for that matter. And they feel that it is some kind of a blame game that's happening, and actually sexual molestation did not occur. So there's lots of these little things that the youngsters are coming out with. For me, as a therapist who deals with adolescents and children, what I would like to say is there's a warped idea of what sex is all about, a warped idea of what consent is all about. People doing alcohol and drugs at a very, very young age. And even we have to somewhere revamp our parenting strategies, because what was considered a sin several years ago is okay right now. And let me just take you back to a few years ago, where there was a person, there was a molestation like this. 8th class or 9th class children in Vizag, they molested a young girl. So 8th and 9th class is even younger than these children of today. And there was another incident about 5 or 6 years ago, which again hit the papers, and that was where kindergarten children, they were showing some kind of sexual activity towards their own classmates. So what are they watching? What are they doing? This is something that we really need to think about, and that's pretty horrifying when we think about it, that very, very young children are also indulging in sexual activity. Unlimited porn, unlimited access to drugs. Fortunately, the police is now cracking down on that. Unlimited drinking at a very, very young age. Unlimited activities where, they lie to their parents, and there's only that much the parents can do to kind of, hold them in. But I do believe, that the insensitivity towards sex, the insensitivity, the rape being, the rape culture as such, where you make rape jokes and it's perfectly okay and everybody's laughing. And even boys can be raped. So let's also put that officially. See, there is a lot of social, physical, and sexual and psychological issues that go into.
You're right, actually, Dr. Purnima. Even in this particular case, these boys, after performing this particular act, or rather the crime, they went back and led normal lives till the matter became public, and then they realized that the police will be on the lookout for them. Till then, they were leading normal lives. They go back and even take selfies in the same pastry shop from where they had headed off with this girl.
Exactly. And also the fact that, people are so insensitive to what's happening, that it's okay. It's one of those things. It's okay. We had fun at whose expense are we having fun? And, that difference between what is right and what is wrong. I would also say that video games and all these things, which show a lot of these sexual molestation, a lot of games in the market, which are like this, where you see the boundary between what is right and what is wrong is completely erased these days. And it's very manly and very funny that people would talk about it, probably on Snapchat or something like that, wherein they would say, okay, we did this, and look what, it was great fun. Taking videos and then putting them up as MMSs and all over the place. See, this is not unheard of, but then if you notice, it's getting worse. And I think here, this is a red flag for all of us. And for the past 5 or 6 years, it's a red flag for all of us.
I'm also joined by Dr. Narasimha Reddy, who's actually the president of the Hyderabad school, Hyderabad Sahodaya Schools complex. Dr. Reddy, this is something that I know academicians, teachers, principals, schools have been discussing about, this culture of younger and younger children perhaps taking to alcohol, visiting pubs, maybe making lifestyle kind of choices which are proving to be very, very dangerous. How do you look at this? Where does the fault lie? Are we, when we say education, is it getting limited to only the learning, physical learning? Even that was actually missing in the last couple of years when they were not in physical classes and doing online classes. How do you look at this culture that's come up, which we don't seem to have any answers for?
Here, actually, not only one reason, there are several reasons, which are causing for all these problems. Basically, society is responsible, I can say, whether it is taking from today's movies or music to extent, and even parental supervision is lacking, and even I think, children, especially the teens, are thinking that it is a new lifestyle, or it is civilization, or it is, rich culture. They feel proud to be, part of, this kind of pub culture. And so obviously these teens' brain is not developed enough to take, this kind of thing. When they get intoxicated, they would not think like adults, because adults think reasonably, I can say logical thinking, but teens think emotionally. So their brain is not developed enough to handle the situation. But after they drink or after they take drugs, so absolutely they will not be able to handle the situation. And at that minute, whatever they feel like doing, they will do it. And also after the incident is happening, what is the result? Like, someone does something, whether it's a rape or murder or anything.
Yeah.
These culprits are getting away without any punishments. That's also one of the reasons kids think that nothing would happen. No, let me
the
enjoy.
deterrence is not there.
It's not there. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm going to go across to Mansi Kumar, young professional with us on the program. Mansi, when we often talk about cities, we say, pubs should be there. So there's a lifestyle, there's nightlife as well. But seeing something like this, where youngsters, underage youngsters, actually going to pubs and perhaps indulging in very, very dangerous behavior. As a youngster who must be obviously socializing and so on and so forth, where do you think parents are going wrong, schools are going wrong, children are going wrong?
Hi, Uma. Thank you so much for having me here, and good evening to everyone. First of all, I think that because there's so much information around us, it's a little unrealistic to not expect teenagers to have the desire to go out and socialize in a setting that's suitable for young adults. And I do think in India, we do have a vacuum of spaces that are not exactly for children and are not for people who indulge in alcohol. So there is this mismatch because, it's very normal for teenagers to be curious and go out and want to socialize. But having said that, I have noticed that the pubs in Hyderabad especially have become a lot more uncomfortable for me to go to, and my friends as well, especially since last year. There's been some new breweries that have opened on road number 45, which is the most affluent area of the city. And there's one particular brewery that opened last year, and multiple friends of mine whom I know, mid-20s working women, have gone there and have complained that the security at this club made them really uncomfortable. So I know this particular incident where my friend was showing them their ID to get in, and they were kind of trying to look inside her shirt because of the way she was dressed. But she was wearing a kurti actually that day. And when these women go speak to the management, they don't.
It's actually in this case as well,
women.
Perhaps the identity was actually not checked. That's the reason why so many minors got into the pub in the first place, I would think.
Absolutely. But the point here is that they have complained to the management of these breweries, but the management tends to protect their own. And if the security in these bars is not taking women customers seriously, they are not setting that precedent for the male customers at the bar either, you know, so young women are not being seen as equal contributors to the business, and they are also not being given the respect and just a basic decency. So there is that growing culture that I myself have observed in Hyderabad.
So many questions that still remain unanswered, and so many challenges for the youngsters, for the parents, as well as for society, I guess. Thank you so much, Dr. Narasimha Reddy, Dr. Purnima Nagaraj, Seema Garwal, and Kulwant Kaur, as well as Mansi there for joining us.